From the studios of Adaba 8.9 FM, good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of TheRoundTable. My name is Dimeji, and joining me on the program this afternoon, I have representatives of the PDP, the APC, and of course, the Zenith Labour Party. So, representing the APC on the program this afternoon, Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dimeji.
And I have the former Public Secretary of the PDP in Ondo State, Mr. Zadok Akintoye, you're welcome on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here with you.
And of course, media to the Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Mr. Alan Showore, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you, my brother.
So I'm going to start from the PDP. I don't know if Zadok has had this narrative. There's this narrative, I don't know if you have added, that it would have been better if Agbola, Ajayi, and Jegede were on the same ticket, that their chances would have been brighter. What do you think about it?
It's something that I've heard a few times and I've listened to. But let me do say here, for the record, that politics is about the people. And in our contest, we continue to seek partnership across political parties, and we continue to seek support of every citizen of Ondo State. Obviously, if Barrister Agbola Ajayi, His Excellency, had remained in the PDP, obviously it would have given us far greater impact, because then his vote would have counted. The vote of his supporters would also have counted in favor of the PDP. We tried our best. Obviously, everybody has their individual ambitions to pursue. And while our candidate, Ita Jegede, is pursuing his, Barrister Agbola Ajayi is also validly pursuing his, just as the incumbent governor is also doing his own. We would have wanted him to be with us. We tried the little we could, but right now he's in the Zenith Labour Party, and we believe that it's going to even make the election more interesting for everybody.
Let me ask Carlin, why do you think that Agbola and Jegede were not able to reach a compromise? Why do you think that happened?
My brother, that is needless at this particular point in time, because Yoruba say, Kakaki, Kiniu, Koshe, Akaku Eku. Erike Kuwa she or there, Lotto Tony. It's needless. And let me
but do you agree? Have you had that narrative that the two would have done?
It is those people who don't know the strength of the deputy governor that are driving that narrative. And for the purpose of emphasis, the deputy governor is not interested and will not, under no circumstances, make alliance with PDP for the purpose of this election. Of course, we are talking with all the political parties who have expressed willingness, seeing our strength, particularly after the flag off. We have become the latest bride in town. So people are talking with us to work with us, but it is those who want to support us that we are talking with. We have no doubt that this election, the chance of the deputy governor and the candidate of Zenith Labour Party is the brightest. So we welcome people who want to work with us, who want to support the deputy governor to win this election, because even the governor and the APC, they know that the deputy governor is the main challenger. So we welcome anybody who wants, but he is not going to stand down for anybody, but we welcome those who want to stand down for him.
Okay, in case you're just joining us, the program is TheRoundTable, and we're talking about the October 10 governorship election in Ondo State. And like I said at the beginning of this program, representatives of the three leading political parties in the election, and that is the APC, the ZLP, and of course the PDP. Let me ask Carlin one moment. Why do you think, you say the chances of your candidate, you say he has the brightest chance in this election. Why do you think so?
Yeah. If you follow the flag off,
the PDP had the flag off,
yes,
too.
The three,
and the crowd.
The three flag
the APC also had their own.
Let me start from the Almighty God. Okay. Where the two other candidates or the two other political parties had their flag off, heaven did not approve of it. But when we did our
does that even matter? That rain?
No, I'm just telling you. But we have the biggest crowd. That is second. Among the three major candidates from North, Central, and South, there's none of them the other two, who have support, massive support outside of their zone. But the deputy governor has massive support outside of his zone. It is 3 zones now. Then the third one, he is the most politically experienced. He has climbed
of all the 3.
Yes. As a supervisory councillor, elected local government chairman, member of the House of Representatives at the national level. That's a national taste, national connection. Then a deputy governor, a sitting deputy governor.
So you think Akeredolu and Jekede do not have national connections?
Were they in the Senate before?
Akeredolu is a sitting governor.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
He's a senior advocate of Nigeria.
We are talking about politics. I'm not talking about professionalism. If we talk about the legal profession.
So you think Agbola has better political connection than Akeredolu and Jekede?
Political credential, political credibility. I've just read it out to you. It started from the world level to the local government level to the federal constituency level to the state level. A sitting deputy governor with this, he has the brightest. There's no just two way about it. We just have to be frank. And sometimes they agreed. That's the most politically.
Okay, let me turn to Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye. Do you agree with what he has been saying? He's permutation about this election.
How would you agree?
Well,
it's a curious one.
Yeah, funny enough, I like Allen. Allen will make a very good marketer. Why he not to be in politics? But this is politics. You are supposed to market your candidate, even when you know some challenges, even when you know the obvious incapacitation. If when you know the odds against him, you still need to come here and say all the things he has said. I have no problem with that. We are politicians. We are to talk like that. But the truth of the matter is this: he talked about the issue of God approval of the day of their flag off. To me, it's the other way around. It shows barrenness. If we talk of rain is synonymous with growth. It's synonymous with life. When you plant anything, if it has no water, then such is it will naturally die a natural death. So it is a sign that God has actually approved our flag off. The rain fell when it's supposed to fall. It stopped when we needed the plane to land. It also stopped when the people were agitating to come to the field to dance. It stopped when the rain was supposed to take off. It stopped at the point that we needed the rain to stop. So the rain was never a threat to us at all. And in any case, like I said, it is not about the rain. It is not about the time it fell. It is about the message. It is about the personality in the country.
He also measured the crowd. Do you think that has anything to do with the content?
Allen is not joining us. I participated in so many elections in this state.
No. Don't say that. No, don't say that.
When you are talking,
I'll come back to you. You have the time. Don't worry. You have a chance. You have your time to respond. Let's make it simple. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, from DPN zero party time, I've been participating in election in Ondo State. I've participated in so many elections as member of campaign committee, as members of a party, as party officials. I know that once you want to have your flag off, you mobilize, you talk to your members and non-members. The factors that really shape election, they are not here yet. They are not even contained in the amount of crowd you can carry and pull at a time. It is about the question of your party and how you are able to market the personality in your products, bring him into the information space, and in the weeks ahead, we shall illustrate the personality that are contesting this election. Because we cannot continue to allow political correctness to dictate where the vote goes. If we continue to allow that, then we are doing great injustice to the system and we deny the people of the benefit of dividend of democracy as they are supposed to have it. See, politics in the advanced country, it brings direct benefit because the people go beyond the rhetorics. They look at the personality that are contesting.
I was about asking that.
Who are you? What do you stand for? What's your capacity? Are you committed to a particular line of profession or a particular line of business or a particular line of known trade before you leave politics and leave your calling and come to politics? If you don't have character outside politics, you cannot suddenly develop it when you come into politics. It is you. It's just like a pastor. If you are an aggressive person, if you become a pastor, if you are on the pulpit,
You'll be an aggressive person.
that is it. So it is about the content of the individual that are contesting this election. That is where I stand. And the ultimate reason why all of us join politics, apart from our profession, which we practice, which we have by the side, which we didn't allow politics to take away from us, it is how to bring the best into the seat of power and let the people enjoy dividend of democracy, because governance is no longer a tea party. Governance involves you opening up the space, allow external funds to come. If you have a small pocket, if it is 100,000 that pocket can contain at a time, if you need to increase it to 200,000, you must think of how to increase the pocket. Otherwise, you won't see where to put it. So if you don't expand your economy, if you don't open it up, it won't be able to attract external funding. If it does not attract external funding, then there will be expansion in the system.
Let me ask Zadok. Do you think, or would you say that people seem to be too focused on the rhetoric in this election rather than talking about what really matters, policy direction and all of that?
I think those who love Ondo State would not deliberately incite using rhetorical statements to try and incite people, to divide people in a bid to win an election. And I want to please just use this opportunity to say that any politician of note would understand the impact of alliances, would understand the impact of people. It's the people that matters in an election. Our party, the PDP, understanding the importance of the people, has deliberately focused its public engagement on uniting the citizens of Ondo State. The Yoruba say, "Yiyo ekunbi to joko." You understand, but we must also consider the fact that the people have to determine who is going to become the governor. The rhetorics are there; they are part of our politics. For instance, when somebody comes and says, my candidate is the best candidate and all, you are trying to market, but you don't need to do so much if you are marketing a good product. You don't need to spend so much energy or take so much actions or trying to convince the people. It's the people that will vote eventually. What we should put on the table are the narratives that shows the competencies of our individual candidates in this election. Look, I stand to be corrected, and I hope the Zenith Labour Party and the APC will be bold enough to say publicly here that Ita Jegede does not qualify to lead Ondo State. And the man has come on this table to keep saying that it must be an Ondo first agenda, irrespective of who you are, where you are from. That's why in our engagements we keep saying, Ejeka fiti oshelu, divide and rule. Let's unite together as a people to win elections. Ita Jegede does not have a problem with Rotimi Akeredolu SAN. Neither does he have a problem with Agbola Ajayi Esquire. What he's simply saying is that at the end of this election, we are all going to be in this state for the next 4 years, and we must be very careful.
Should he win? What is likely to be the policy direction of Ita Jegede?
The policy direction of Ita Jegede is the transfer of wealth to the people of Ondo State.
And I'm going to expatiate on that. By deliberate
actions of government to empower citizens within whatever business or social realm they have to be able to meet their needs and produce whatever little they can produce into the economy. That's why we are going to focus more on education. Now, in education, there's three stratas: the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary education. The most important of it, which must be dealt with in the immediate term, is the primary education, because that's the foundation upon which all others are going to be built. So we are going to focus largely on primary education, and then for tertiary education, reduce the barrier to entry that the APC government has recently put against our people by increasing the fees. We must bring it down, while government looks for loose funds to support the tertiary institutions to be able to meet their needs. In secondary education, we are focusing on giving our citizens access to technical education. Okay. For instance, secondary school is not as important as primary. That's why you have primary, this most important, secondary, the less, but also very important, because that is when you begin to focus more on the skills. And he has said that he's going to use two objects. One is allowing students in secondary school to gain skills like carpentry skills that they can use for survival within the Nigerian space, and then focusing on sports, because sports is probably one of the biggest earners of income. And so if you are able to develop sports for young people. Get talent. Look at this young man that is in mixed martial arts, Adesanya. The young man is making huge amounts of money with his skills. And so secondary education will be focused on skills development. Then tertiary education will be focused on developing the human power, the human capacity for policy direction and management of our institution. And that's what education should be. And that's what we are bringing to the table. Competence and understanding of the issues and capacity to deal with
What about industrializing the state?
Look, industrializing the state, as you've asked me for what his policy focus will be on. When you educate your people, that is when you are only going to be able to save them. You are going to be able to give them capacity to earn. Industrialization is a broad thing. It is the people. Look, the strength of the Southwest is in agriculture. First thing is you must return the resources, access to resources to the people. When we spend money as a government, for instance, through the civil service, we must also give the civil servants an opportunity to also be able to use what they collect primarily for government for some level of development, wherein we are going to encourage civil servants to be able to have ancillary businesses, things that they can do. Our money should not just go into consuming and eating and drinking. Our money should also go, because that's the primary place that government spends its resources into helping them to develop. If you interact
with many civil servants, you discover that oftentimes they take loans from cooperative societies. They take housing loan from government, and oftentimes these housing loans, so-called car loans from government, is not enough to build a house or even buy a car. And this is housing is a major problem for some of the civil servants. Should Jegede win this election, does he have any? What are his plans in that sector?
Look, most of our civil servants who have built houses, who have been able to buy cars, use it through the cooperative system. What they do with the cooperative system is a part of their salary is deducted, and then aggregated together for those who need immediate funds. These funds they then collect and use for their projects. That cooperative deduction must be a priority for any government in power to return, because that is what has been able to provide a buffer for the challenges that people are facing. When you deduct it and you don't return it,
like a housing scheme.
Of course, those are parts of policies of government to deal with specific issues that come up. Look, for instance, in Ondo State, the larger majority of civil servants are not so keen into buying government houses. That's a character.
Maybe that's because it's not affordable.
No, what they will rather want is that government. If you look at the number of applications for land with government land is massive, but government is not allocating to people. Government is allocating to their cronies. But we must allow people to build their houses. Let this allocation continue. Let access to land be provided. Let government provide infrastructure. Let people build what they want to build in compliance with government policy. You can't build what you want to build. People are now going to build in mountains.
Okay, let me quickly ask you before I turn to Shore. If you look at Akure, which is the capital city of Ondo State, there are so many areas. So many areas that are not even developed, no good roads. And this is because people continue to build. They continue to build away from the city centers. Should Jagede win? Because I remember the last time I spoke with him on this table, he mentioned visiting a particular community where there is no road.
That's in.
Does he have any plan for that? Does he have any plan for that?
Look, yes, and I'll tell you specifically what he intends to do. Most of the developments that you see, not just around the state capital, but around most of our major cities in Ondo State, are not deliberate, are not precise, they are not planned. And you must allow them, because in nature, as society expands, as population increases, people will need more access to houses. What government should be doing is that government acquired lands that have been budgeted, that have been allocated for housing estates, should be opened up. Government should allow people to access them. We don't want a situation where government hands lands, it is only those who are in the party at the moment, or those who have the privilege of access, that are getting allocated. We must continue to open up new areas. It is because they are not opening that people are now going to build on rocks and mountains in Agagu Road, Idore Road, and several places. And the more people keep expanding, the larger the infrastructure burden of the state is expanding unplanned.
Okay, let me talk.
And that's the big issue.
Let me talk to Show. The same question. What is likely going to be the policy direction of Agboola Ajayi should he become the governor of Ondo State?
Yeah, let me quickly make the correction that about what my brother said.
Please do that.
Yeah, you see, that is the challenge we have with some of members of APC. You don't look at the size of the people. I contested in '98 as a councillor I started participation in politics since 98, effectively. So, because you see that I'm small, you think I'm under 30. Oh, I'm well above 40. And Obama governed US at the age of 44. So, I take exception to that. Now, the policy direction of my principal, the deputy governor candidate of Zenny Labour Party, is going to be, we are going to take government back to the people.
How do you intend to do that?
Yes. What we have presently is a government of consultancy. The government of Ondo State is supposed to be owned by the people of Ondo State. When you give government back to the people will...
I don't get it. When you say government of consultancy, what does that mean?
Yes. You see, the essence of state government is to administer the resources of that geopolitical creation for the people in that particular state. So, what that means is that the governor must be from here, the commissioner must be from here, they must live here, and they must empathize, they must feel the pain of the people here, they must understand the challenges of the people here. That's where we have the problem. The moment you have that, you can now have people in Akure, maybe a commissioner of works in Akure, who understand the Akure arrangement, the Akure master plan. It is not the people who just bring one project or program that is done in Benue or in Katsina and dump it on us without considering the local challenges that we are, the local advantage. So we are going to return government back to the people. Then we're going to focus on education, real education, affordable, qualitative. Then the civil service, we are going to revive the civil service. The deputy governor said during the campaign flag order, we are going to create a loan scheme, revolving loan scheme for the civil service. There is going to be money. So that
is there not something like that? Because I recently Akedolu gave out loans to primary school teachers.
We are not going to give emergency loan. We are talking about a loan.
Which one is emergency loan?
Before 3 months before election. That's emergency loan. We are going to give real loan. Like, see, it's very simple. Yeah. If you create a scheme and you put 1 billion naira there, for instance, and you give out 1 million to 1,000 civil servants, and they return, let's say, 100,000 monthly.
Deducted from their salaries.
Yes.
Okay.
It comes back to that account at the end of the month. So you calculate how many people can access that again. If you have the way. So that we are going to focus on that. We are going to focus on agric. Real agric. Agric is our mainstay. We are going to focus on tourism. The Idare Mare that has been abandoned, we will revive it. See, I am from Eseldo. I understand we have the longest coastal area. If you go to Elijah, if you get to where they call Araromi.
They say Akedolu is already working on that.
For how long? I work with Akedolu. Look, there are so many MOU that have never seen the light of the day. And that's the challenge. You have people who work on slideshow economy. They do slideshow and presentation and they sign MOU. We never see the light of the day. You see, some of the time when I look at my Facebook posts and we see 200,000 EPADA, where is it? It's along Emre Road there. You see it. It's overtaking. You remember the loan do rise. Where is it? So we have signed so many MOU, and that's why we are appealing to the people of Ondo State. Let us give it to somebody who understands it, who has the experience. Because all these consultants, they will just come and show you computer. Like somebody is talking about seaport without having the necessary arrangement with federal. We don't need all those slideshow, all those computer. Listen, all you need is to create a road from Igbokoda to Araromi seaside, ensure security. Then it becomes a tourist center. You start to generate income.
Give people. Please, Allen, humor me, because I don't think this question has been asked often. Your party and your candidate and his supporters have criticized Akedolu, several times and severally. Both of them ran on the same ticket in 2016. Don't you think that Abola should also take some responsibility for some of the alleged misdoings of Akedolu?
That is a very fantastic question. He will only take responsibility for the assignment given to him. And
because what we hear is that he was in charge of politics majorly before they had that fallout. That he handpicks many of the members of the House of Assembly.
Look, let me tell you.
Is that not right? Did you not handpick?
Let me tell you the background information now.
Okay.
And you know that the governor, with due respect to him, contested in 2012. He lost. So they need a political consultant. They brought in the deputy governor. He consulted for the APC. APC won. So will you now abandon somebody who help you win election? He was putting in place those things before they felt threatened. So he is not responsible for any of the action that is anti-people, like the increment in school fees. Is it the commissioner for education? In fact, he advised against it and said, cut me out. For instance, in Osopadek, the deputy governor is from SLDO. Do you think the deputy governor will support an arrangement that will not allow the 40% or 30% oil derivation to be managed by Osopadek to go back to Ilaja and SLDO? What will he gain from it? So you cannot blame a man who has enough courage to say, Oga, this is not the way it should go.
Okay.
This has to be done differently.
To Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu. Mr. Rotimi Ogunleye now. Okay, let me ask you. Akeredolu has spent almost 4 years in government. Should he win second time, what are we likely going to see?
Thank you very much.
Is there going to be a change in what we already see, or is going to be a continuation?
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, if we are in the opposition, we operate from two extremes. Yeah, you paint the very bad scenario. But one thing I want to tell Alan is that whatever negatives he has painted there, two persons are responsible. The governor is deputy, because they take decision together jointly. So if he likes, let him paint it so badly as if nothing happens. So the two of them are severally liable and jointly liable. That's one. Two, as far as I know, the commissioners in this cabinet, those that I know and familiar with, they are from this state. They have always been with us. I'll give you a very good example before I go to what you said. There was a day I was passing through Araromi. I discovered that there were so many portals there. I picked my phone and I called Sakayus, who is a good friend. And I asked the commissioner for what? This place. The portals is big here. There's a gully here. He said, my friend, don't worry. The second authority will be there. It was there. Cut all the roads and get it fixed. The same thing that of Okijebu. That you see some, it doesn't mean no action is being taken. It only means that the actions are not enough. It must be.
Because of our time, let's
yes. So what I'm saying is this: the governor in the last 4 years, in the last 3.5 years, so to say, has been able to clearly define his path in governance. One.
And what is that path?
That path is genuinely committed to industrializing the state, bringing on the table the effort that can bring in foreign direct investment, and he has continuously, in that part, developed, a kind of scheme that will make investors come around. And if you go to Industrializing, I've been there. I went there. I saw what was going on there. Nobody can deny
it. It is operational.
Yes, it is operational. Nobody can deny that. That's one. Two is focusing on road construction, and the evidences are there. You don't need to go and begin to point that he has done this road, that road. Allen could testify to that, even in his local government. That's two. Number three, you couldn't deny the fact that there were more than 400 schools that are innovated, even some new one built. And I'm aware that the deputy governor sat on the committee that administered that. That's very correct. That is the truth. You can't take it away too that if you are so committed to a very good and quality education, as a leader, you must take what I call iconic and legendary decisions that will aptly give to the people the quality in education that their children ought to have. And this is the focus of the governor. And in this area, he has done really good work. Dr. Kesama is a very good friend. When I was the consultant at Akumbaya, that was even the period of Dr. Amamimiko. We had series of engagements on the state of that school. He will always complain to me about how degenerated, how bad things are. That when it is 11, 12 or 1 p.m., during the hot season, that there's no lecturer who could go back to the office to sit down because no light, no basic. You can't do serious academic work.
Has that changed now?
Yeah, if it must change, you understand what I'm saying? Then the leader must take proactive decision. Of course, that is what we're going.
That was what led to the increase in tuition.
Yeah, that if we must.
What led to the reduction?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you're a leader, and
because people are saying it's a political gimmick.
No, wait.
Okay.
Wait. Either political gimmick or not, what has led to it is that some people are making so much noise about it. They are saying, "Oh, this is much, that is this and that." So the governor was prepared upon and said, "Look, so that it doesn't appear as if you don't listen to our people. Yes, we know your mind. We know what you are feeling. I know the state of the finance of the school as a consultant. I know it. It's only that my profession forbids that. I won't be giving some statistics on here, so that you don't appear as if you are not listening to the people. You must let the people feel that you are listening to them, and that what you are explaining, they may not really be with it now because of the economic reality of the nation. We should be sincere." And he said, "Okay, if that is the case, let us look at the finance of the school." Those people are even chanting 50,000, 40,000. Do they even know what is the wage bill of the school? What is the direct overhead of the school? What is the fund challenge of the government? What is the cost of the government? What is the wage bill? What are those things that are competing directly with the fund of the state? They don't know. Earth is there. All of these are there. So let us look within the pot of fund available, and let's take this off the course to show empathy, to show that we listen to the people, we hear what they are saying, and that's exactly what led to that. As regards the loan he was talking about, my belief is that if you are a very good leader, if you are governing a set of people in a particular community, there is no time that is so hard for you to do what will make them comfortable. You may read political meaning to it. It is allowed. This is political era. Politics in the air. Propaganda will be there. The truth is, the governor has done it. Yes. I mean, when this government came on board, you would agree with me that it came during the time of when the economy was in depression. So the government started with economic depression, and unfortunately, from February or March this year up till August, the economy of the entire world came down. It came down to the extent that it collapsed crude price, and the major source of our foreign direct investment, which makes our balance of trade credit, came down. So we have persistently and consistently balance of payment deficit, and that affects the value of the naira and the strength of the naira. There's nothing anybody could do about that. And if we now continue to, do importation, import rice, import fuel, import everything that we are using, that will exert unceasing pressure on our foreign reserve. And since we have limited items that we can export, there is no way we will not be affected.
Because of our time, let me quickly ask you this. You mentioned Akumbaya, and I know the salaries of lecturers have not been paid. I spoke with the pro-chancellor. I interviewed the pro-chancellor of that school, and he said half salary was paid in May. So that means June, July, August, and September is almost coming to an end. What is the government doing about that? Because I'm sure lecturers are listening now. Because after the program, the lecturer called me.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I know how pained they are.
Yes, they of course, under any guise, there shouldn't be any reason whatsoever for anybody to deny a worker having worked for 30 days his salary. That is the basis upon which anybody should think and look at this issue. But we should also have a think that a governor meant a salary area of 8 months, he paid 7. That shows commitment to payment of worker salary. That shows understanding that the only thing that always commands in this state is workers' salary. If we now have an economically troubled state economy, if we have an economic fund base that is seriously emerging, that is having serious economic hiccups, then it is left for the administrator of the system to sit down and look at what is attainable, what is achievable. No governor, no human being, even between 3 of us sitting here, we want to be governor, and you have the money in the treasury, and the civil servant will know that the money is there, and you deliberately cease to pay people's salary, or you pay them half salary. That would be wickedness. Such a governor, may God never let it govern Ondo State. If it does, may God visit the iniquity on him and his family. No, see, nobody will do that and be joyful about
The
it.
people vote there.
Do you understand? So that is the truth.
Okay,
We should be sincere here. We should put the issue the way they are on the table.
Okay.
No governor will go to central bank and begin to manufacture money and cut money.
Let us respond.
Okay, you want to say something? Okay,
Yes.
quickly.
We should be very.
Because I want us to
we
move
should
on.
be very careful about some of the things we say. We can excuse government not earning enough, but we should not also excuse government mismanaging whatever is earning.
Are you saying those on the administration?
Yes. Look,
How?
when you say that the burden of the university is so large, and so you now have to cut it by asking the students to pay more money, or you have to put the burden of lower income on the citizens who are already suffering the impact of the global challenge, economic challenge, that may not be too fair. On salaries, for instance, when you say the governor has paid, the part of the salary of civil servants that really makes greater impact is that part that is deducted for cooperatives, because it is their salary. You must also remit that into the cooperative system so that they can validly be able to borrow money from that system for their development. Government is not remitting cooperative deductions, and the civil servants are not able to engage in capital projects for personal benefit that will help in their development. Now, for Akumbaya University, it's a simple case of economics. The more the number of students that are there, the more money it will earn. Since the governor increased it, can they give us the data to show the number of students that are enrolling in that school now? If it is now a preferential, if it's a first choice of university. Politics. I can tell you, it's not about politics. I can tell you very clearly. I mean, simple economics. Create more access. Let citizens of Ondo State be able to gain greater access to that university at an affordable rate. Let us have a maximum studentage, if I may use that word. Let us be overwhelmed because our students, our pupils, and our citizens are seeking university education, and then that would increase whatever we are earning.
But you must also think about the number of lecturers, the lecturer to student ratio.
Please do listen.
I'll come to you. You must also Zadok. We must think about the lecturer student ratio.
That is why,
which is also very
important. For instance, when you have greater demand, you would also have greater need to employ more university lecturers.
That would also cost more money.
You need to look at what is the ratio between salaries and the capacity of that university to earn money. We are not talking about that. We need to look at what is the subvention of the state government to those universities. And I want to make a reference to the 4.3 billion naira allegedly that this state government said after 10 years did not have accrued interest. For instance, it is the responsibility of government to protect state resources. If you don't protect state resources and you negotiate away the capacity of that state to earn money, you would now say that citizens should bear the burden of your not earning money. And I want to go back to several issues in this government. Road infrastructure. It is easy to tell citizens that we are making new roads at the expense of the huge road network in the states that are left abandoned. Mr. Ogunlaye and I live in Akure City now. Can he tell me that sincerely he is happy when he drives around the city center? I live in Alagbaka, which fortunately has better managed roads. So I don't have as much reason as him to complain. Where he's living in? Is it comfortable? That government is it comfortable that government has abandoned maintenance? You know, I've had to explain this once, and I explain it again for those who may not understand. Any government that comes into power inherits the assets and liabilities of state. One of the infrastructural assets of state is road. Roads are not always considered by government as assets that must be maintained. And so when you leave those roads abandoned, look at Ondo Road, look at Lafe Road, look at Agagu Road, look at Idore Road. It's almost impossible. You can't drive comfortably there. You leave them abandoned. They have been destroyed. What it means is that any government that is coming into power is not going to inherit from you access that is on par with what you inherited. It's going to now inherit the liability of maintaining those roads. We can't say that I am doing a 100-meter bridge in Ore for 5.6 billion. Okay. While abandoning roads in Akure City, abandoning roads in Akoko, abandoning city roads, interconnecting roads.
Because of our time,
so
let me go on to Showore. There's been attendant incident of violence, on the different campaign trains. So much so that many people are scared, the electorate, that there could be violence on election day. How would you advise that this be nipped in the bud?
Yeah, just before I turn to that, let me just make a little contribution to the Akumbaya issue.
Bear in mind how time is
Yes,
passing.
just to add to what Zadok said, that mismanagement, then there's misplacement of priority. For instance, in Adekunle Ajasin University, the official vehicle of the chairman of council is
Pro-Chancellor.
Pro-Chancellor is 38 million. Calculate.
Are you sure,
I
girl?
am sure. Calculate how much that will pay for students. So, look, I was in secondary school when we were told, Reverend Thomas Matos propounded that as human growth in geometrical progression and food production growth in arithmetic, that there will be starvation. Those people who are still left behind thinking that we cannot expand our income. They don't know that you can expand income. They are still complaining about low income. No, we have a candidate who can expand our income. You have abandoned all our income. Sport is one of the biggest income. They have practically abandoned it. I mentioned to you tourism. So all that you are doing is you are just waiting. You are not expanding.
Let's go to the question now, because
Now the question now. Thank God that you know that the Zenith Labour Party has never been part of any violence in this, and that we are appealing because we don't have interest. The PDP has orchestrated violence. The APC has equally accused PDP. We have equally seen an unfortunate death of a young man in the North. I'm appealing to them. Let the people of Ondo State this, particularly the governor. If you have been in this state for 4 years, if the people want you, you don't even need. I don't even see the reason for all this billboard, all this attack. It's needless. It is equally the responsibility of the governor to protect life and property in this state. So, I'm appealing to this political party that we are not part of their violence. They should not come our way. They should equally give peace a chance. And as a supporter, nobody should be afraid of this unnecessary attack on innocent people. It is the last kick of the dying horse. It's not going to take anybody anywhere. The man who will lose. Ondo State is different from the result of Edo. It is becoming clearer that the vote of Nigeria will count. Edo and Ondo has so much.
Okay, because of our time. The same question, Mr. Rosnimi Ogle. We're talking about violence. How do you think that people are scared? Same question.
Yes, I want to say
because the Oba incident was
I want to say categorically
the APC and the PDP were involved in that.
I want to say categorically that if you are interested in the progress of Ondo State, if you are interested in the well-being of its citizens, you must not. I repeat, you must not. If you are not calling for the wrath of God, support violence. I've never in my life support any party.
We're talking about your party now.
Yes. The truth of the matter is that we must, at this stage, not play politics with it. Whosoever that is involved should please stop. Should not allow violence to mar this election. They should allow people to go out and cast their vote. Whosoever wins at the end of 4 years will learn. Whosoever that is making unrealistic promises, even when they don't even know the workings of government, after 4 years we will come back and do assessment, isn't it? Democracy offers opportunity because we are to elect every 4 years. It offers us opportunity to look back and say, have we done well by removing this government? Then we'll be able to compare notes. So we should, all of us must not hold back our words when it matters. We must condemn violence. We must not impute politics into it and say we saw this person who was killing this. No. Whosoever that is guilty, condemn such a person. Whichever party that is not doing it well, condemn it the way it should be. And my friend was talking about that Akumbaya, that how much is the car of the chairman, Pro-Chancellor, how much is the vehicle of the deputy governor? Is Jeep.
Is the deputy governor the chairman of Akumbaya? How
much is the Jeep, the vehicle, the fleet of the deputy
mention
governor?
Mention it now. So that mention that of the governor.
How much is it?
Mention it and I'll mention that of the governor.
If we are talking of a Pro-Chancellor who is entitled to an official vehicle, you understand? You come on here, you trivialize and bring
I'm not telling you that
is deputy governor not riding official vehicle, commissioners, even when you were the SA, are you not riding official vehicles? Are you not enjoying government vehicle? What is the root about that?
We
must discourage violence and we must kick against it.
on violence.
Okay.
We all
Let me add this one to it. It seems as though it's only the PDP and the APC who have been at each other's throats.
Unfortunately,
maybe because we didn't see the Labour Party. I said
as a contender, as a serious contender.
There's this the kiosk.
Let me quickly say,
because your guy is running a tasket.
Let me
people serious.
Mr. Allen, please.
For the sake of citizens of Ondo State, let me say that violence is a product of an unjust society. It's in a society where there's no law and order. And I want to speak about what happened in Oba. It was an unfortunate incident that should not repeat itself on the part of my political party and the APC. And what happened was this. All of us are supposed to be responsible as citizens. The PDP was scheduled to be in Akoko Southwest in Oba. The APC was scheduled to be in Akoko Northeast, I believe. On that road, we are supposed to pass the same place. The PDP was there ahead of the APC. And as is customary, the PDP immediately proceeded to the Oloba's Palace for our campaigns. You greet the king before you begin to proceed into his community. It was while we were there that the first set of the advanced team of the governor passed, as affirmed by an essay to the governor.
And we heard that you were the aggressor.
No, and that's why I'm explaining what happened. The advanced team, the PDP was already
Just
there.
running your time because I
Yes, the PDP was already there. And then the APC advanced team of the governor's entourage passed. When they were passing, they exchanged compliments. Okay. And I quote Barrister Sholaji Shafe on what I've just said. They exchanged compliments, greeted each other, there were no issues. It was when the governor passed that issues came up. When the governor passed, fortunately for the PDP, our people were in the Oloba's Palace. This can be corroborated in that community. When the governor passed, against the rules of campaign, apparently he stretched forth his hand out of his vehicle to do his 4x4 signal. Unfortunately, don't forget we were already there campaigning. The people booed the governor. It was from then that we heard the gunshots. Look at the damages done to vehicles. They were shooting into the PDP vehicles. Fortunately, our people were in the Oloba's Palace. We would have had casualty. When we were coming back, because we couldn't proceed anymore.
And you burned their own vehicles.
That is what happened. That's the reprisal. When we were coming back, unfortunately for some later teams of the APC, we met them again. And then they were the ones that paid that. So all of us, and I say this on here, PDP, APC, Zenith Labour Party, we must abide by the rules of campaign and avoid each other. That was why when the APC government decided to hold its flag off, on the same day we held ours, in a different location not too far away, we decided to shift ours because there is no way you will bring opposing parties that there won't be violence. That's why we took responsibility and shifted it.
Okay, quickly. Alan, let me quickly ask this question. The Edo election, do you think it was more a rejection of the APC or an embrace of the PDP?
Well,
quickly,
yeah,
because the question is still going to go around.
Yeah, it is the rejection of the APC by Nigerians. But let me quickly add what happened in Ondo.
Our time is past.
It's just one sentence.
Let me pose the same question to Mr. Rotimi Ogule. The Edo election. Yeah. Was it a rejection of the APC or an embrace of the PDP?
It was a triumph of the majority over the minority. Not absolute majority, not absolute minority. Just take the result.
What do you think?
It was the people telling the government that they are unhappy with the government, irrespective of political party affiliation.
Same thing will happen here.
Because this government has increased fuel prices, has increased taxes, all within the same period. And so the people are unhappy, and it is valid. And we must encourage the people to keep rejecting the APC government until they begin to listen to the sufferings of Nigeria.
Now let me use my 1 minute to...
Yes.
Quickly, show.
Yes. He mentioned that the Zenith Labour Party has not been part of violence. Let me tell you what happened in Ondo. We were going to Ore, and the APC came to block our ways at the roundabout.
That's the lie.
Just wait now.
Quickly.
Video. You know what we did? We just waited. The former governor came out, and we were just...
Mimico.
Yes. We never attacked them for more than 2 hours.
You were not allowed passage.
I'm telling you.
For more than 2 hours.
In Ondo, on Saturday, ask the people. More than 2 hours, because the deputy governor does not believe in violence. The people will speak. Yes, 2 hours.
Mr. Ogle, quickly.
Thank you, Mr.
Your final word.
Thank you, Mr. Dimeji. We have in Governor Akeredolu a man that is not given to rhetoric of politics, a man that will tell it the way it is, a man that will look at the economy and do that is just and right, a man that will look at the reality of our situation and say this is the way to get out of it. If we must get different results, we must do governance different from the way we used to do it in the past.
And that's why we have to change this government.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi Ogle of the APC.
Thank you.
Alan Shore of the ZFP, and Mr. Zedok Agitoye of the PDP. Thank you very much for coming on to this edition of the Roundtable. My name is Dimeji, and this is where we draw the curtain on to this edition of the program. Good afternoon, and thanks for listening.
Politics is a good thing, but with the attendant intricacies and the many sound bites, it gets confusing. At Adaba 88.9 FM, it is our job to sift through the noise, helping you make sense of it all. This is why we welcome you to our world, where we help make politicians accountable to you.